And we are going on a new episode, a new journey tonight.
It is a brand new I'm going to say jersey. It's a brand new jersey. It only costs you $300. It's a brand new journey. We are glad that you're here. Welcome to the BM Show. We're so happy to have you here with us today. We're going to be talking about some great movies. They're the best movies we've ever seen.
But before that, we got a couple things that we have to knock out of the way, if you don't mind.
Oh, please.
Awesome. I'm going to need a song right now for the review corner. Can you bust out your song, Ben?
Do you want me to see if I can have it make one for the Mike's review corner?
Nope. I want the original.
Oh, you want our original song? Okay, so we're talking like we've been doing this forever, folks. We have a theme song now. Yes. One of our many listeners went and threw this together for us. I wish we were that big where we were having people.
He's in Ireland.
He's in Ireland.
I wonder if our Ireland listener is back. That would be awesome.
It's weird. We get listeners for certain episodes depending, I think, what the topic's about. Also, the fact I've been putting our stuff just straight up onto YouTube now because at least on YouTube, people are finding it. If you're listening to us on YouTube and you want to hear our back catalog, it is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We've done like over 100 episodes.
You gotta say that. Wait, hold on. You gotta say that right. It's Spotify.
We're everywhere you could find Joe Rogan. Basically, you could find this show as well. You could find past.
You gotta say that right too. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. You gotta feel it in your throat. Joe Rogan. On Spotify.
So if you wanted to go and listen to some past episodes to go and learn more about us, also if you just want to binge us, please do. We could really use the listens. It's some good stuff. If you really dig in there, you can find some pretty embarrassing stories. Especially when we first started, we talked about, we had that one episode, I think about this often, when we talked about past dating stories.
Okay. I thought you were going to go with the one where you talked about having your dirty underwear on your head.
That never happened.
It did for our VIP members.
Yes, for the VIP members who get our episodes 3 months ahead of time because of magic. They get the episodes before we even thought of them. They know what's happening in the world.
And that was even on video with you doing that.
See, that's why the VIP membership is so important, because we talk about stuff in the news sometimes, and because you get to hear stuff that happens 3 months from now, you can use that in the stock market, and you can make a killing.
Yes.
Because in 3 months from now, we're going to report that like Apple went out of business, and you're going to know that already.
Yeah, and also that way you could be ready. So if you talk to yourself and yourself says to you, make like a tree and get out of here, you'll know how to deal with that situation because you went 3 months in the future.
Yes. We did. I think I lost track. I stopped counting these, but I'm sure we're hitting like 200 soon. We've done so many of these.
No, we're definitely in two. I thought 200 was the one where you.
I can tell when you're making stuff up because
dude, this is when Barrett died.
Oh,
you also died for a short time too, which let me share this with our viewers because
and then we came back.
I've shared the story with Barrett. What happened to Barrett? I shared the story what happened to Matt. I haven't shared what happened to you. So just so you know, you people know, after I think it was episode 200.
Maybe episode 200. I remember I was so I think it was the excitement of hitting the 200th episode did me in, right?
No, not quite. Well, it's part of it. I mean, that excitement brought on a poltergeist haunting because you are in Connecticut and there's a whole bunch of evil spirits that are in Connecticut. And I remember you calling me, telling me that they were pulling you limb from limb. So you lost appendage after appendage and finally perished. However, you came back to me at one point in spirit form and said, look, I want to do the BM shows again. And luckily we had cryogenically frozen your body and limbs. And we took them. Thankfully, we had a doctor on our staff as one of our guest hosts. He was able to glue you back together and resuscitate you. It was a year and a half after this incident happened.
Now, I'm curious. Didn't we have like one of those guys like they have in Final Fantasy where you can go and bring your dead party member back to life? You didn't have one of those available with the Holy House?
No, because we tried it on Barrett, and he came back to life for a second and said, "You know what? Just leave me dead." So at that point, we stopped using him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He came back and he said, like, "I'm back alive. The Star Wars movies, they made new ones still, right? Yeah, just let me die."
we took him. We ended up taking him to McDonald's after that, and he just killed himself again.
Oh man, you must have looked at the bill.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get started. Let's get started on the review corner. Can I get the song, Ben?
Okay, so do you want our theme song? Here's our theme song. Let me go.
No, I don't want the theme song. I want the review corner song that you sing so well every time, or rap so well.
Oh, that one. You want the original? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's Mike's Review Corner. He's here to review a bunch of games for you. Some of them are good.
Some of them are good, but today, that's not going to be the case. Today, I'm talking about a game called Secret Archives. I hope that's the name of it.
Secret
Archives.
Okay, let me go and pull that up here on the...
Secret Archives is a want-to-be Resident Evil clone. At least the new style Resident Evil clone.
I have Secret Archives of Vatican came up.
Nope, just write Secret Archives gameplay. I'm sure you'll find it that way.
Yeah. I'm actually looking up game. Oh, wow. I can tell just immediately from the thumbnail that this is...
high quality.
Yeah. This
friendly.
This is just right up there with some of the other boobalicious games that you...
This is why it's important to do this review on this episode, because of what's coming later. So... Without going any further here, let me give you the review of Secret Archives. This game is trash. Just total trash. If you actually consider this over a game like Resident Evil 4 Remake or The Killing Antidote, you are delusional and should check yourself into a mental institute. For the little time that I played it, I'm at the point where I can request a refund, which I probably should, or press on full knowing that I may not get through this game. And the moment I am done going any further, it will be uninstalled and moved to my not needed Steam category. Just because I don't want to go through the refund hassle, will be doing the latter. So see you all at the mental hospital. I got this for a survival horror game aspect because I was so desperate for something to play, not for JO material. That was probably my bad. Everything about this game, about the gameplay of this game, can be summed up in the intro where you actually see how she lays down on a bed. This is when the snowball at the top of the hill gets its momentum. Then it turns into a train wreck. The zombies have the potential to move at Mach 5, making any precision shooting pointless. I like when I can aim for a good shot, and I like when the tension of spray and pray at the right times. This is the latter pretty much 24/7, unless you manage to keep yourself in a different zip code from your target. But each shot, each zombie dropping has zero feeling of accomplishment. It just feels like going through the routine. No real exploration, no real enjoyment in the combat, just like work. And then there is the worst enemy in the game, by far the most difficult, the save phone. I kid you not, I had to pound the E key while it was highlighted about 50 times while moving the mouse around before it actually registered that I wanted to save. If I ever have to save on a timer, I'm pretty much going to piss away about a minute or two just clicking on the phone. So if you want this for a survival horror, don't bother. It has no life. And I mean that in a bad way, not an undead pun way. If you want this because you think the main character is hot and you can play dress up, or play one-handed, don't bother. Watch the YouTube video about the game to get your satisfaction. They went through the suffering, so you don't have to. If I was to list the good aspects of this game, the list would look like this. Number 1. And that's it. Maybe if you're bored, $5. But I got it on 10% discount. Even that is overpriced.
Oh.
Mike's Review Corner, and you're in luck. You just heard a review of a game that sucks.
If I say your name, you are not fired. That is all.
I don't get that.
It's just mean like everybody's fired.
What?
All right, never mind. I'm just blabbering. But I'm watching footage of this, and this looks absolutely horrendously awful. This looks like PlayStation 2, early PlayStation 2 3D graphics. Like, think of like that really bad Tomb Raider game.
Mm-hmm.
And this makes a really bad Tomb Raider look not too bad.
Have you gotten to the zombies moving at Mach 5, wailing their arms in the air?
No, I saw one video where she was creeping up on people, and now I'm watching her where she's got a big butt, big butt, big boobs.
Oh,
and
dude, yeah, she's got
fighting. She's fighting monsters. There's a video called all the bosses.
Uh-huh.
A couple of the bosses are literally also women in bikinis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, and then like the women in bikinis, like they're sitting there, like they're wearing nothing but a bikini, and you are shooting them with a machine gun, and they are still running at you as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, that sounds like the zombie. That's not a boss. That's a zombie. That's a zombie moving at Mach 5.
Yeah, no, this is a boss zombie though. I must be. It says all bosses. I'm assuming that Rush Hour gameplay, which is what I'm watching right now. I'm assuming they know what the fuck they're talking about.
Probably not.
One of the billions and billions of YouTube channels devoted to gaming. I mean, my boss's son has a gaming YouTube channel. Like they're pretty common. Just like this, our podcast, I'm sure is pretty common. There's only a million shows just like ours, but only ours has VIP members.
And only ours matters.
Only ours matters. Yes, thank you. About time somebody other than me says that.
Exactly. I recognize our worth.
You understand how great we are.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, if I could only have a heart. Oh,
so
brain.
That means hold on, we got to get to the second thing.
Oh, we're not there yet. Okay.
We're not there yet. No. Next up. So whenever you game your LeMay. Yes, whenever you game your LeMay. Well, I will teach you the right way to kick bottom when you play. It's time for Mix and Mike Ticks. So today on Mix and Mike Ticks, we are talking about this game.
Final
the greatest
Fantasy 4.
The greatest of the Final Fantasy series.
Is this one of the ones that came out in the States, or is this the one that didn't come out in the States?
I'm glad you asked that, because I'm using the Pixel Remaster version for a couple of reasons. One is I don't have the Super NES version ready to where it needs to be. Second off, this was one of the ones that came out in the States. This one came out as Final Fantasy II originally on Super NES. So it would have been really weird me putting Final Fantasy II up here and saying Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, that's one of the most confusing things. And I mean, I guess at the time it kind of made sense because it took forever to get Final Fantasy I out here and to do 2 and 3 like rapid fire on the NES. I mean, they did it with Dragon Warrior, but then again,
plus they were, compared to Final Fantasy I, they were excruciatingly difficult. Especially 3. I think 3 is ranked the hardest of the Final Fantasy games.
It's also one of the hardest ones to find a port of. Like this Pixel Remasters is the first time that 3 and 4 have been like ported to a home console in like forever. Because I think 3 and 4 got released on like one of the Nintendo systems or maybe one of the Sony portables.
So when you're talking 4 was 2 in the U.S. So that got
released. I'm talking about recently too.
Okay.
Because 3 like has been like the one that's been really hard to find ports of. 4, unless you go to the Super Nintendo, like you're like looking for. There wasn't a lot of re-releases of it.
Yeah, first time 3 was released in the U.S. was on DS.
That's
so it was a very different graphical style and gameplay style. And then the Pixel Remaster, I think, is the only other version, and the only 2D version of it, really.
I gotta play Dragon Warrior 3 still. They have they did a re-release of it, and from what I'm seeing, the re-release isn't really what I'm looking for. So I might have to go and just play like I have an actual another re-release. A re-release of a re-release is the one that's out now, and I have the regular re-release, which is it's the Sony PlayStation version or like version of it or something. They remastered it a little bit. It looks like it's 16-bit. But like an 8-bit 16 to 16-bit convert. They Super Mario All-Starred it.
I think it was like DS maybe.
That might have been it.
But
I was actually watching a thing on YouTube yesterday about how important Super Mario All-Stars is. And if you think about it, all the remakes that they made of NES games all kind of took from what they did for Mario All-Stars. It really was like, is Nintendo kind of just setting like, okay, this is how you do a remaster, especially a remaster of a game that literally came out the previous generation.
Okay, I gotta stop you here because probably all the Final Fantasy IV people are going, I'm sick of looking at this loading screen. Let's get to the mix and mic ticks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going on, and I'm also still watching video footage of the last game we talked about.
So let's talk about Final Fantasy IV. What we're going to discuss here is we're going to talk about a mid-level grinding location and some steps that will make everything a lot easier. Now, I'm also going to talk about a boss fight that I haven't got to, but I did find a YouTube video posted by somebody. So credit to that person for posting it that does the whole battle incorrectly, and I'm going to tell you how to do it correctly. So there are going to be spoilers in this. The spoilers are going to be, they're going to be about mid-level spoilers. So just be warned, you're going to see things if you haven't gotten to this point that you may not be excited to see, including...
Oh, dude, this game is so old. If you haven't seen some of this stuff yet, I mean, come on. Any video that you go online and look this stuff up, we're going to tell you, it's going to tell you a lot more than what Mike's going to tell you. So don't worry about it.
So there is a point where you're going to get to this area that I'm loading up now, which is going to be the underground area. And this is the location that makes a very good grinding point. I'm going to show you where to actually do it. It's actually going to be right here is where we're going to start. Now, you have to be careful in this area if you're playing a version other than the US Super NES version, or I believe the Easy type version from Japan, because there are monsters that do at this point have counterattacks.
Mike, can you just assume that somebody's not watching this and explain where you are?
I am close to the dwarf castle in the underground area. I am to the right of it where you come out the exit when you go through the underground tunnels under the dwarf castle.
Okay. That also helps me because I've never played this game. So I'm like, I see just a bunch of fire and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know.
And there's a little peninsula that I guess you could say looks like a penis on the island. That's the best I can describe it, was where I'm going to head. And I'm going to go head down there now.
Okay.
And what we're looking for, we're not looking for these guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill these guys really quick. The enemies we're really looking for, now these guys will give you a good experience. Don't get me wrong there. They do have counterattacks, though, especially one of them will stone your character over time. So you got to be very careful with them. Make sure that your attacks are hitting for sniper kills.
I think it looks more like an arrow.
Okay, that works for us. This is what we're looking for. We are looking for these guys right here. They're called, in the Super NES version, the Dark Imps. In this version, they're the Goblin Captains. The reason why is because they're very weak enemies compared to what you're going to encounter here, but they actually give very good experience. And you can actually get into battles where there's 4 of them. So let's just say I had 2 of them. We have 3,800 experience for that battle. We'll see if we can get to another battle with maybe none of them. We'll see what the experience looks like then. But I just kind of walk on this little area. Okay, so here we're back to this one fight that we had. So let's kind of see, we got 4 enemies here. Let's get an idea of how much experience we get for these guys that are a lot more dangerous with their counterattacks. So there we go, 4,330 experience. So it's pretty much the same for killing 2 goblins and one of those guys versus killing 4 enemies that are more dangerous. And you really score when you get 4 of them. Here, I got 3 of them. And so we'll just take this out. We'll just see how much we get really quick. And then I'm going to show you another reason why you want to grind at this location rather than somewhere kind of far off.
Now, in all these mix
6,000 here.
In these mix and mic takes for the Final Fantasy series, you've covered a lot of good grinding places, and every single time they always are right next to a town.
Yeah, this is even better because, like I said, this is right next to this back door entrance to the castle. But watch this. If you walk in this hallway and walk up to this pot, boom, free magic and hit points right back.
Nice. You don't even have to spend any money on a hotel.
Don't have to spend any money. Walk right back out and go down to the Penis Arrow Peninsula and go right back to grinding.
Venus Arrow Peninsula. I think I vacationed there once.
You know, if you've been to Thailand, you know all about the Penis Arrow Peninsula. So you're gonna there's 2 times you're gonna encounter grinding here. The first time you're actually gonna have to walk to the tower afterwards. That's where some events will happen. You'll exit out of this area and you'll come back later into it. And at that point, then you can cross the lava because you can't originally do it before. This is where the game is going to push you into going to a dungeon that's down here in the south, about the south middle. When you get to the steps that now that you can cross the lava to do that, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go there just yet. And the reason why is because there's very difficult monsters in here. They're called doors. And what the doors will do is they will target one character on their turn, and then the following turn, they'll instantly kill them. So you're going to want to have a party that's strong enough to take those doors out prior to that second attack happening so that all your characters are getting full experience for it. So instead of going down to that dungeon and continuing with a story, there's a couple optional dungeons. One is going to be to the west of this, which is the Summoner's Cave, which is right here on this little island. This is going to be your second location, or the first of the 2 locations you want to go to. You have to be careful because there are these spots where you can see I'm taking damage when I walk. So the best thing to do on each level is make sure you've grinded enough so that your magic user, your white magic user, has a spell Float. And each level you want to cast Float on your characters. All of a sudden, no damage for going across those spaces. Be careful though, because each level you go to, when you go to the next floor, whether you're going up or down, you're going to lose Float. So you're going to have to recast on your characters. And basically, you're going to go through this dungeon, and you're just basically looting it, getting whatever experience you can out of it. The second dungeon, what's that? I'm sorry?
Float. We all float down here.
Now, you can get some summons at the bottom of this dungeon. You may want to do that after doing quite a bit of grinding, but there's some good summons. The other dungeon is more in the northwest area, and that'll be way up here, where you just at the very top of the map. This is going to be the same thing where you're going to have squares that will hurt you. This time they'll look like poison. So you want to float here. The monsters are pretty difficult in this area. So this is one where you kind of want to go down one path, exit out, heal yourself, go down the other pathway because there's multiple stairs up and down, and just take it, chip at it, time and time again until you loot this whole cave. At the bottom of this cave, you'll find one of your old party members. You could actually get the strongest throwing weapon here. That I'm going to leave because I didn't figure that out on my own. That I'm going to leave to you to look up to get the steps to do that. Sorry. So that is the main grinding location that you want to do underground mid-game. And it's, at that point, then you're just going to be blasting through everything. So that's the first thing I want to talk about with this game. The next thing I want to talk about is one of the boss battles. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen for a second. And I'm going to bring up that YouTube video. And I'm going to start sharing that screen. So you're going to find this battle probably after you've done that cave that I was talking about not going to. You're going to go into a giant, and what you're doing, you're basically taking out its core. So when you get into this fight, there's going to be 3 targets to it. There's going to be an attacker, a defender, and the core itself. And I'm going to pause it once this battle comes up so you can kind of see what they look like. So you're going to see that there's these two small round balls and then a big one. The 2 small ones, the top one is the attacker, the bottom one is the defender. If you watch this battle, you'll see that they do exactly what they're talking about. The attacker will attack you. The defender will constantly heal the big ball for 3,000 hit points per turn that it has. The attacker on its turn is basically going to attack all of your characters and hit them for, it's not going to be like super hard, but it's enough that it'll stack over time. However, and this battle will show this happen, once you take out the attacker and you take out the defender, then all that's left is the CPU. Until then, the CPU doesn't do anything at all, really. It casts Reflect, and that's about it. Once it's taken out, like you're about to see, it has a new attack. It's called Globe 99 or Globe 199, depending on whatever version you're playing. The other thing it can do is it can respawn the attacker and the defender. This is Globe 199. This is what it does. This is why you do not want to do this in this battle. So a lot of people suggest taking out the defender, then attacking the CPU, eating what the attacker throws out at you, and then just healing when you need to. That's not good enough for Mix and Mike Ticks. Mix and Mike Ticks needs to do it a completely different way. So what I recommend doing, because you're grinding, what I recommend doing, get your characters strong enough to where they're doing over 3,000 damage per turn, so that instead, target the attacker. Take out the attacker. Once the attacker's gone, attack the CPU and accept that the defender is just going to keep healing the CPU. The reason why is because as long as that defender's there, the globe will not, or the CPU will not cast that move that instantly kills somebody. The attacker won't be there, so you're not going to take any damage. The only thing you have to deal with is the fact that the CPU is getting healed. Once the CPU is dead, the defender's there doing basically nothing. I think it heals itself, but you can take out the defender pretty quick. So basically what you're seeing is a way to not do this because you're just making it harder. Just go for that attacker and then go for the CPU. And that's all I got for Final Fantasy IV. That's all you need, because everything else, after doing all that grinding, you're pretty much going to walk through until you get to some harder things, which are kind of like optional things. But what Final Fantasy game doesn't have anything that's optional that's made to be super difficult?
How do you take out a gang of clowns? You go for the juggler.
I just taught you the right way to play your game. Yes, I taught you the right way to play your game. So if you are still lame, only yourself left to blame. You just watch Mix and Mike Ticks. And Ben still loses.
And we are on the other end of that now. That was some interesting stuff, Mike. These videos, at least one of them, did really, really well. I mean, we got a comment, so to me, that's really, really well. Somebody left a comment. Dude, I run a church. The church account I run, we have almost 2,000 subscribers, and I'm like, oh my god, somebody commented, because nobody comments.
Well, yeah, and actually, I saw that comment. That was awesome to see that, you know, it helped out that person.
Yeah, like there's no other way of doing it, dude. You know, I keep finding stuff that I think should be out in the world and it's not there. So it's up to me and now up to you to create this stuff because apparently nobody's doing this type of things, I guess. Like I went and I have a T-shirt that has Jesus and it's written in a Sega font. I might have brought it with me when I went to go see you one time. Probably not though. Did
Yeah,
I?
you did.
I did. Okay. And I think I told you the story behind this, where I'm looking all over the internet for this T-shirt, and I can't find it because it doesn't exist.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go make it. Because I'm like, I want this shirt, and if I can't find somebody else who made it already, I guess I have to do it.
Yeah. Just like the person that our VIP person that was kind enough to make us a theme song.
I went and I was looking for Christian hardcore gangster rap. Christian hardcore gangster rap.
Mm-hmm.
It does not exist. So guess what I did this past week?
Oh, you made a Christian hardcore gangster song? Rap song?
I made an album of hardcore gangster rap music.
Nice.
And I just listened to it now, and it's great. And it sounds like Wu-Tang Clan singing about or rapping about the Bible. It's phenomenal. And I'm like, and I made a YouTube channel. If you want to go looking for it, they're called the Prophets of Truth. I'm going to try to build them up completely in kayfabe, where I'm going to pretend that they are an actual group of guys who are Wu-Tang Clan fans who are looking to capture that style for a Christian audience.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like sitting in a party. I conjure so you're feeling tiny. Now here comes Jesus to bust a cap in your hiney.
No, the lyrics are not actually it's just the beat and the way the lyrics are delivered is very gangsta, but the lyrics themselves are very like there's a whole song that's all about taking care of your neighbors.
Huh.
And like how like a good neighborhood like a real gangsta takes care of their neighbors.
This is as long as it's not like the preacher guy who did, you know, Jesus is my N.
Oh, that guy. No. This is and that's the thing is like I used the same I used the same fan of the show that made our theme song help produce all these rap songs with me.
He's really good at music.
Oh yeah, that seems to be all he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
just
awesome.
like just tell me in 200 characters what you want, man, and I'll make it for you.
It's like, and you know, he's really good at music. He does music and he listens to the BM show, and that's it.
Yeah, he's a good friend of the show. So that's Sono. That's his handle name. And did I play the song on the air yet? We were listening to it before we went on air. Did I play it on the air?
No, you haven't played it on the air.
Okay, so before we get into our movie reviews, our second half of the program, let's listen to the new theme song for the BM show, and here we go. Welcome to the Nerdist, where we chat and joke, binge on movies and games till we're utterly broke. Ben and Mike, they got that banter flow. Welcome everybody to the BM show. Laugh out loud is the place to be, where geeky minds meet so naturally. From pixel legends to blockbuster heart, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart. From the cinema seats to epic game nights, to bud share and all the pop culture bites. They got that passion, you can feel the heat. In every episode they bring in treats. Laugh out loud, it's the place to be, where geeky minds meet so naturally. From pixel legends to blockbuster art, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart. Heartfelt moments wrapped with humor spark. Join the fandom, let's ignite this lark. Open your mind, let's explore the scene. Like and then, gonna keep it keen.
action heroes and that indie gold. Chat and twists and plots that never get old. From heartfelt stories to epic quests. Every week they bring their very best.
All right. That's toward the end of the song, but that's pretty really good. I mean, that's just.
So I got a question for you, Ben.
Yeah.
I brought dots. What treats did you bring?
I got a soda.
You got soda? Okay, so soda and dots together. There we go.
I think what they mean by treats is that like we're bringing them like the good reviews, the movie reviews, the gaming reviews. You doing the mic ticks and all that. That's the treat. That's the real treats.
I think my reviews are pretty bad, so I'm gonna go with yummy treats. Because you know what? Who doesn't love treats?
Yeah, I like treats. So what I'm going to probably do is take that and maybe like after the first chorus, kind of like turn it instrumental and just use that as like a way to bring us into the show in the future. Maybe, I don't know. I'll play around with it. I got like a million other projects on my head right now.
Okay.
This game, I'm paying for AI now, and I unlocked this horrible box that I'm in now, where I'm just constantly creating new stuff because now I have something at my ready to constantly bounce ideas off of, instead of like, hey man, what do you think of this? And they gotta wait like a couple hours sometimes because people have lives, they got stuff to do. Here, I throw something at it, I'm like, what do you think of this? And immediately it hits me back with some feedback.
So basically, what you're saying, actually, now you are playing with power.
Yes, I am playing with power.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the main event for today. We watched a couple movies. The first one that we got to talk about is Spice World.
Thank you. I wanted to go there first. Okay.
So you get to, since I got the idea of us getting through this, you get to open this one up, Ben.
All right, here's my usual spiel. Spice World is a 1997 British musical comedy film. Would you call this a comedy? Okay. It is a British musical comedy film directed by Bob Spears, who should have one thrown through him, and written by Kim Fuller, who is full of shit. The film stars Spice Girls Mel B, Emma Bunton, Melanie C, Jerry Halliwell, and Victoria Beckham, that's her name, playing themselves in a fictional narrative. The plot follows the group as they prepare for a major concert in London's Royal Albert Hall, interceded by dream sequences, flashbacks, and humorous asides. This movie sucks. Oh my God. If you watched Cool as Ice and thought Cool as Ice was the worst movie ever to star Pop Idol, you ain't seen nothing, man. Spice World makes Cool as Ice look like a fucking masterpiece. I watched a review of this by the Nostalgia Critic, I think, a couple of years ago. And within 15 minutes, he covered every single plot point, to the point where I saw this movie for the first time this week and felt like I've watched it already. And so that tells me there's 15 minutes of story. That's it. And the rest of it are, and I never really found these girls to be really super attractive. I get why some people do, and nowadays I guess like some of them, they held up better than others. But still, I never really got into the Spice Girls. My sister was into them. I hated it. And I hated this movie. I watched it. It was garbage. I forced myself through it. From what I could pick up, the story was they're trying to make it to the Prince Albert Hall, or whatever it's called. And a newspaper writer, in order to make a story out of it, decides that he's going to try to make it so they don't make it to the show, so he can report that the Spice Girls didn't make it to this concert, and that's supposed to sell newspapers. Like, I knew they were a big deal, but I didn't remember like a lot of teeny boppers going out to go get like the New York Times, I don't think they cared enough to go get a newspaper. But
I'm loving you bring that up. Okay, so I'm going to say this about, first off, I got to do this all the time. From rating from Sigourney Weaver to 10.
Are you going to do all 5 of them separately?
The Spice Girls. I'm rating the Spice Girls, all 5 of them together. I give them a rating of, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I really don't want any of the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are that attractive.
Me neither. Like the hottest one probably would have been like Victoria Beckham,
Mhm.
and that's it. And her character was the most shallow out of all of them because it literally was like,
let me jump in because there's something I have to really say, and that's where I need to springboard also, and what you're talking about, because I got a lot to say. So, watching this movie, it's bad. It's really bad.
It's a bad film.
But I can't get myself to hate it, and that's the weird thing.
Oh,
I don't know why. For me, I'm never gonna watch it again.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't watch it either.
I don't regret watching it because I did find enjoyment in it in a way. Here's what it does that's good, because everyone's going to talk about, what this movie does bad. Here's what it does that's good.
Okay, what does it do good, Mike? What's its redeeming qualities?
So you've got a group that capitalizes on characterization. There's no way you can tell me that somebody is that quote unquote sporty, that their life is so devoted to sports, but yet they sing. There's no way you can tell me someone's that fashion buried, but yet they still sing. It doesn't happen. They knew how to characterize themselves. And that's what they do good in the movie, is they stick to that character. They've been doing this. Yeah. This is how they get big. And they stick to the character, and the writers knew how to stick them to that character.
I agree with that 100%. I've seen some of these movies where, let's take Cool as Ice, for instance, because we reviewed that. He is not Vanilla Ice in that movie, even though he probably is acting a lot like Vanilla Ice. He's not Vanilla Ice in the movie. So, and they do this a lot where they have these pop stars, and I'm calling them pop stars for lack of a better term. They have the pop stars come in and they play these movie parts, and they try to make them actors. Here, they're like, girls, just be yourselves, but turn it up to 10. Exactly. And that's what they did. They turned it all up to 10.
And that's the problem. That's why I can't hate it, is because of that, it actually made me giggle in parts. It didn't make me like laugh out loud, but a prime example of this, and you can't tell me this didn't hit you. The scene where they went to the dance instructor and they all came out in their army gear, and then Posh came out.
Oh yeah.
And she's in that really short army dress that you see her always having to pull down. And they're going through the obstacle course, and you get to that point where they have to get on the ground and crawl, and you can just see she nails her character so well. Yeah. She has that look of disgust, like, there is no way I'm going to do this. And after that, she just walks around every single obstacle and just keeps going. It's well done to where it actually makes you giggle at the scene.
My favorite scene in the movie, and this is completely as a guy, my favorite scene in the movie is when they're doing the dress up, and one of them dresses up like Wonder Woman, and her bazungas are just boom. And I'm like, okay, this is the one good part of the movie.
There's actually, and something really shocked me in this movie. There was a scene that I was not really ready for what they were going to say. It was a part where they were in their bus with their friend who went into labor, and one of them, I think that was Ginger, was like, okay, because she's like the know-it-all one. She's like, okay, I got to go over the steps to how to handle this. Step 1, keep your legs closed. And then I think it's scary all of a sudden. It's like, she should have done that 9 months ago. Oh. I couldn't believe she said that, because I'm thinking the Spice Girls are supposed to be these innocent, pure girls. But that caught me off guard.
Wasn't the pregnancy thing, wasn't that just a way for them to be almost late for this concert? Like, wasn't that like, yeah, that's like the only reason that's really in there.
Yes.
Can we talk about some of these guest stars? Because I got a whole list.
That's where I wanted to go next. And then I want to talk about the plot. I'm surprised with some of those guest stars. There's some big names in there.
We have Richard E. Grant. I'm not really sure who he is. Alan Cummings, I know who he is. George Wendt, he's Norm from Cheers. Yep. Claire Rushbrook, not really sure who she is. Mark McKinney, he's from SNL, and Sir Roger Moore.
And there's another one too. Like I said before, if you can't afford Michael Caine, and if you can't afford John Cleese, you get Stephen Fry. And what did they do? They got Stephen Fry.
Oh yeah, I remember him in there now. Yep, they had Stephen. Wasn't he like the newspaper guy?
He was a judge.
Oh, he was a judge. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I forgot
that
which
shows
judge.
that shows how much of an impression he makes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. Upon its release, Spice World received primarily negative reviews, but achieved commercial success. Of course, it's the freaking Spice Girls in a movie.
Yeah. But
Every teenage boy at the time wanted to go see this because there's 5 of them. One of them's hot to you.
Mhm.
One of them is at least hot to you.
Mhm.
That's why there's 5 of them. They did this. It's the same formula they use in K-pop. They have 4 or 5 girls, each one slightly different. So you go and say, "Oh, she's my favorite because," fill in the blank.
And that's like K-pop, J-pop. They stick to this routine that probably goes back to, I'd probably say, New Kids on the Block, where they have to have a personality for each person. They really didn't have. I can't think of a time they had it. The closest would be like Village People, but I think they were just in costume and not acting the part that they were. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't really done before, because even if you look at like the 4 Tops, or back then when like the closest that like they had to a pop group back in the day, they never had like, or the Jackson 5. Other than the fact that Michael was the youngest, it wasn't like, well, here's Jermaine and he likes basketball, and here's the other brother and he's into movies. They never did anything like that.
K-pop and J-pop are doing it, but the problem is I don't think they did it as well as the Spice Girls were able to do it.
Yeah, this is almost like it's an archetype of how to do it, and then because like British, I guess I mean, yeah, since you were saying like since the New Kids on the Block, like all these different groups for years have been doing it, and then Spice Girls hit something with it where they finally got it. Like, this is the formula. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
And now everybody's been doing that formula to death for the last. When did this movie come out? It's just the 90s.
I don't know, 90 something, or I don't know.
And I tell you what, it makes money. I went through the K-pop craze, you know that, and like I always had like that. I always looked for like the one girl of a certain type in each group, and she would always become my favorite. And that was back then too. The same thing. You'd like, well, if you're really into sporty girls, then you're gonna want to go with Sporty Spice. If you
she has a great birthday, Sporty Spice.
When's your birthday? Same as yours?
I have my birthday. My birthday, I think, is shared by, let me see, Rob Zombie, Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh, Oliver Platt. None of those matter. It's also shared with Sporty Spice. That's awesome.
Oh, your birthday's like right before mine then, because my birthday is like. Oh, I think we've talked about this. I mean, I think my birthday's like a week later, not even. So, I share a birthday with, I forget who now. One of the members of 21. I remember that. But yeah, it's this movie. Go ahead. You had more you wanted to say.
Yeah, jumping into the guest characters though. I think everything that the Spice Girls do well with their characters, all these guest characters they brought in, they don't know what they're doing. Like Roger Moore was awful. He was still stuck in that James Bond, type of character that he did in I don't remember what the other movie was where I think it was Cannonball Run or something, where he was playing James Bond again. And I mean, George Wendt and Mark McKinney did the best that they could as a duo, but all these guest actors were just flat. It was like The Grudge again, where you had what's the dude's name? Bill Paxton? No, yeah. Bill Pullman. Which one is it? Bill Pullman?
Pullman or Paxton? Well, I think it's Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
Yeah,
it's got to be Pullman. Where his character is just completely like he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening in Spice World. And what it causes is this rift in the movie where I feel like I'm watching 3 movies at once. I'm watching this path where it's a Roger Moore trying to sabotage the group to make them bigger. Then you've got whatever was going on with the newscaster trying to get have that evil person take pictures, and then you've got the George Wendt and Mark McKinney trying to pitch a movie, and they feel like they're wanting to be connected, but they never make that connection solid. So it's just that's what hurts the movie the most. It doesn't have a direction because it's trying to take 3 directions at once, and none of them are going anywhere.
You know what they should have done? I'm actually just looking it up now to make sure I'm making a good comparison here. They should have remade A Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night?
That was a Beatles movie from 1964 where it was a musical comedy that shows 36 hours of the life of the Beatles. But all it was just them 36 hours of their life on their way to a show, just like the Spice Girls, where they get into like they see them at the airport and the people all going nuts chasing after them, and they're running as the girls are chasing after them. That's if you've ever seen that epic scene, that classic scene from movies of the Fab Four getting chased by all these girls. That's the movie it's from. It's from A Hard Day's Night.
Well, that was kind of done recently with Spinal Tap at that time.
Yeah, but you might as well. I mean,
yeah,
because they're kind of trying to do that with this, but it's like they weigh in with these guest stars, and it's like Roger Moore was the only one I kind of got like a rise out of. I'm like, oh, cool, they got Roger Moore, but it's like, dude, you got Norm from Cheers.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, geez, you can get Shelley Long. Like, what's the matter?
Another problem with the movie that I'm gonna throw out there is, because it's English, I don't know what half the stuff they're saying. It's
very British. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of expect that, being it's a British group, it's a British movie. But yeah, it's like I think even when my sister watched it when she was a kid, she had trouble like understanding some of the jokes, because it was like, because my sister had the videotape. She was like totally into the Spice Girls. Like that hit her 97. She was I was 17. She was 7. So she was just like starting to get into that, where I was like, into wrestling, and, I think I was like starting to drink and smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. And to me, like, I literally would walk at the Spice Girls and I'm like, I have no interest in their music. Which one of these girls do I want to fuck?
Mm-hmm.
None of them? Okay, well, never mind. Pass. Who's this Britney girl? And I used to borrow my sister's tape just so I could look at the pictures in the tape thing. But
don't want to know anymore.
The Jade card, that's what it's called. The Jade card for the tape was really nice.
Don't want to know anymore.
Do we want to talk any more about this? Do you have more?
I don't really have any more to say, except for I think it gets a bad rap. But I think it gets a bad rap because it deserves a bad rap. But at the same time, I don't think it deserves a bad rap. I know that's confusing to say, but that's the best way I can say it.
What you're saying is that you do know that this is a bad movie, but there's a certain part of it that you kind of like.
Exactly. Well, I know it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I know watching it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
But I can't hate it because it's a bad movie, but it does things good.
Do you think that they took this seriously, or did they know when they were making it that this was going to be shit?
I think they knew. I think they absolutely knew. I think they're crafting.
I think everybody in there is just there to get a paycheck. This is just
exactly.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me too. Like everybody in this, they're here to get paid. That's all
they're just capitalizing on the success of the band at that time.
Yeah, this movie's a real big fuck you, pay me. That's what this movie is. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why you can tell in the story, there's just no direction to the 3 stories that are going on in the movie because they didn't care, because they wanted the check.
Yep.
But the problem is the Spice Girls actually make it somewhat worth watching.
They seem to be the only ones actually in the movie who seem to be trying. And I think it's the whole thing, if they kind of see this is our chance to make a big time movie. And the rest of the people in the movie are like, this is the time for us to get an easy payday.
Yeah. I often wonder if like the Spice Girls bus, if what we were looking at inside the Spice Girls bus was actually the bus, where like Baby had the swing hanging, or if that was just a movie set that was made to be the bus.
How big was it, dude? What do you think they're driving around in, the TARDIS? The thing was gigantic on the inside.
I don't know.
You know what the TARDIS is, right?
That's a boat from something or other.
That's Doctor Who's spaceship. And the whole thing with the TARDIS is it looks like a phone booth, but when you go in it, the inside is gigantic.
Okay. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they were doing. They were doing the TARDIS effect, where the bus, it was way bigger inside the bus. Inside of the bus looked like the inside of a house. So it was, I'm like, oh, it's a TARDIS bus. And I wish somebody would have made a reference to the TARDIS or something, because at least that's British as well. That would have been a nice tie-in to Doctor Who fans. But this movie, I don't recommend watching it. I really, really don't.
I recommend watching it knowing that it's going to be unenjoyable in a way, but watching it for how good the the band plays themselves.
I mean, if you're looking at it to see what it was like, because it does really there are scenes that do show the Spice Girls phenomenon and how big it was, and how like they couldn't even walk outside without people going absolutely nuts for them. And it's just these 5 girls who are decent looking. You know their story, right? Have you ever actually heard their real story? Because I actually do know it.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so they were hired to be a group, and the contract didn't work out. They were part of this group, and the people who hired them was like, this isn't working. It just isn't working. But while they were together, the girls all hit it off with each other. And there's those songs about them being friends, that's not all bullshit. They actually were friends. And they were like, well, we all got let go, but I think we have something here. And they decided to stick it out, and they actually found somebody else to set them up for a contract. And so that's actually how they became a group. Gotcha. And I find that, and the person who found them is the host of American Idol. That's Simon Cowell. He was the one who discovered them. Yeah, and he discovered them after they've already been rejected by another agency because, and the other agency, what they screwed up on is they didn't sign them to non-compete clauses, is I think what it was, which is now something that company I'm sure now does. But yeah, they were able to take the training that they got from this other company, transfer it over to making a whole new group under Simon Cowell, becoming the Spice Girls, and here we are almost 20 years later talking about this horrible, is it 20 years or 30 years? It's 30 years later, almost 30 years later, talking about this horrible movie. God, I'm so old.
Well, so at this point then, I think we talked about this enough, so we're going to move to the next one. But before we move to the next one, I think it's worth mentioning, because this is a good tie-in, that there was evidently one Spice Girl that got thrown out of the group. I don't know if you heard about this, which was Ginger. Do you know why?
Why?
She posed in Playboy.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about what's happening in the world right now, because this ties into the next movie. Wicked has just come out in the theaters. I probably will not see that movie until I can see it free on some streaming service that I already subscribe to, because I don't have that much of an interest in the movie. But I have on my shelf a 4K copy of The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is a movie that I watched when I was a child with my mom. They used to show it every year around this time on CBS. It was a Thanksgiving tradition. And my mother every year would get together and watch The Wizard of Oz together. It was one of her favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies. And because Wicked was coming out, people have been looking for Wizard of Oz clips online. And all of a sudden, I've been seeing a lot more. And I saw an interesting clip that really kind of piqued my curiosity, that led me down a very interesting road. And that is what we're heading into now. Not The Wizard of Oz, Triple X is an adult film parody of the classic 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. Directed by Will Ryder, it was released in 2013, and it features adult film actors portraying characters from the original story in explicit scenarios. The film is known for its elaborate sets and costumes that closely resemble those of the original film, aiming to provide a humorous and erotic twist to the beloved tale. This was...
Okay, I get to start talking about it. Remember?
Go right ahead. You go first.
Okay. So just to make it clear, I saw the clean version that you cleaned up, I guess?
Yes, I went ahead and I did an edited version. I don't know if it's just my Christian values or if these girls are they're not really doing it for me. I had no problem taking.
So that's all we have to mention. That's all I have to mention. Do the clean version.
Yeah, there's a clean version.
So let me start. Ben.
Yeah.
Revenge. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming for you.
Really?
I hated this. No, I loathe this. Watching this movie. This was only okay. So the original, I guess, was about an hour and a half or something, right?
Yeah, I think it's an hour and a half.
The version was cut down to 28 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You owe me 7 crappy movies for what you put me through on this one. This was, out of all of the things that we've ever talked about on the show, this is easily the worst thing I have ever had to sit through in my whole BM career.
Something you didn't like it?
Okay. Now I think you need to put this one in because this kind of fits because it's naturally a porno. On a scale of Sigourney Weaver to 10.
On Dorothy?
On Dorothy. On a scale of Sigourney Weaver to 10. Okay, and since you might just put this in, why is it Sigourney Weaver to 10 rather than 1 to 10? Is because Sigourney Weaver likes to be that sexy, hot character, and she is anything but. On a scale of Sigourney Weaver to 10, I would rate Dorothy as I'd rather go blind without doing what they're expecting me to do.
So you don't like Maddie O'Reilly?
Okay, I'll give her credit. She had nice legs.
Oh, her legs were insanely long. Oh my God, they went up for days.
Yeah, but I don't want to be mean, but she had nice legs, and that's all. Everything else, there was nothing going on. The beginning, okay, so I don't know like everything that happened in this because I was watching the clean version, but I do know that at the very beginning, some dude gets a BJ from that one lady.
From Auntie M.
Auntie M. Dude, I looked at it and go, dude, you are getting a Hummer from Hillary Clinton. That lady was like so the unhot. I was... And then there was a scene with the witch. Evidently, something her and the Tin Man got it on at one point. And I'm sorry if I hope she was green, dude. She's freaking green. And then there's a freaking Munchkin.
Oh,
I know something happened with the Munchkin because she's like, oh, that Munchkin is really horny. What the freak, dude? If anyone J.O. to the Munchkin part. Please cease to exist.
It was the worst one too. I mean, if you want me to rate what was the best scene that you didn't see, it literally was the end when it was the
big orgy. That's pissed me off. Wizard's not here. Instead, the way you get home is we're all gonna get it on. Okay, I do not. Don't tell me. I do not want to know if during that orgy scene that the Tin Man and the Lion actually got it on.
No, it was literally a guy you've never seen in the movie before and will never see in the movie again. He's literally just there to get it on with Glenda and Dorothy, and that's it.
So it's not even. So wait, so it's him, Glenda. So it's not even an orgy.
It's just the three of them, yeah.
And then, of course, because it's a porno, everything has to be porno. She has to click her heels, and she can't say there's no place like home. She has to name the sexual body parts. There's no. I'm not even going to touch the singing because there's no reason to.
Oh, the singing! Oh my God! But, so I actually at first I'm watching it and I was almost impressed for a second. I'm like, wow, this Maddie O'Reilly, she really has a good singing voice. Until I realized that her lips were nowhere near matching what the song was. And I'm like, it's obviously overdubbed. I don't know if they hired a singer or what, but
I used to write songs like that when I was in second grade. I can't think of anything. Oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to see this. That's how I feel.
With me. What's wrong with me? I actually, on my other YouTube channel, I posted the clean version that you watched, and people have been leaving comments. And one of them is at the 9-minute mark. There's a song with the midget, and it's that song that they have when she meets Glenda in the Land of Oz, and it's like that pop song that is completely out of place with all the other songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, it's just like these songs are just horrible. Number the songs are bad, the acting is bad, but the sets are actually pretty bad too because you could obviously see that they're in a room. Yeah. The best part is like the costumes were really well done. The special effects were good. It was probably out of every porno I've ever seen in my life, which I gotta admit it was actually quite a bit. I went through many years of that shit. This has the best story I've ever seen out of all of them, but that's not really saying much.
So here's why just a mask. This just came to me. So the Tin Man nailed the witch. The midget nailed somebody. Dorothy, I know Dorothy met the pimp, and I'm sure she nailed him. And then you mentioned that Dorothy and Glenda and some other dude that just appeared have their three-way at the end.
Oh, and there's a part in the beginning where Dorothy and herself, just by herself, she does a little.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So what I've amassed here is that it sucks to be the Scarecrow and the Lion, because you're like, cool, I'm gonna be in a porno. Like, yeah, you're not gonna do anything except act bad.
Oh no, the Scarecrow gets laid too. There's another scene that gets cut out where there's a female Scarecrow who happens to also be there, who's upset that her boyfriend's leaving her. So they have one more time in the hay before he goes away. And yeah, so
is that the song? One more time in the hay before you go away.
It might as well be. I'm watching it now. I'm up to the scene now where the wicked bitch of the West shows up. I will say she did a pretty decent job, I think. The wicked witch. She kind of threw herself into the role.
Yeah, she was probably the best thing about the movie.
And
ironically, she was probably the hottest thing about the movie, even though she was green.
Yeah, well, she's got some artificial body parts that are pretty evident.
What, does she have a penis or something? Oh.
No, she got fake tits.
Okay.
And in the one scene where she's with the Tin Man, she's leaning back and you can see they're not folding correctly onto her, and you could tell that they're fake. Yeah,
well, that's she's a porn actress, so that's kind of like expected.
The girl who played Dorothy is the best looking girl in the whole thing to me, but that might just also come back to, like, childhood watching these movies, watching this movie over and over again.
The thing is, it's pornos, I guess, are meant to have the women like ultra hot so that it becomes your fantasy that you're the one that's doing it to them.
Yeah.
But Dorothy was just so ultra mid. If that, I don't know.
Okay, so as they go through the movie, they introduce a new character called the Pimp, and I guess he's supposed to replace the fact that there's no wizard. And they make the Lion gay, and the Lion is the only one of the male main characters who doesn't get laid. So
also, he does ask the Tin Man if he can.
And then at the end of the movie, they got this one scene where they're all up at the Emerald City, where they find out that the wizard's actually not there. What is up with the Scarecrow's costume? It falls apart. It looks like they just filmed this last minute in her hair. Just throw the thing on your head.
Bro, the whole movie fell apart.
I mean, but still, they were doing so well up until they got to this, and then like they really just blew it with his costume, because and it's like, I thought you guys had a certain level that you're trying to hold up to with your porn parody. Oh man, if it wasn't for Wicked, I never would have found out about this. And it's kind of like a hidden gem in a way of just how bad it is. But it's so bad it's good, I think, in some ways.
You just gave me another reason to despise Wicked. Awesome.
Yeah, like I said, with Wicked, I don't think I'm gonna watch that until like it's on like some streaming service, because I'm like, I have no interest in going to the theater to watch it. But yeah, that was not The Wizard of Oz, which if you go to Blu-ray Extras on YouTube, you could watch the same clean version that we watched.
Which you should. You don't even. You know what? You should have stopped listening when we stopped talking about Spice World to this episode.
Yeah, go check this one out and just see how bad it is, and how like everything has to do with sex, like everything. He meets the Scarecrow and he immediately talks about wanting to get laid.
just watch Spice World a second time, really. That's so much better. And that's really bad to say.
And then she goes, "You could have gone home anytime you wanted. All you had to do was just click your heels together."
But I thought you said, wasn't it they had to have the orgy first or something?
Yeah, I don't know why. All of a sudden they have the orgy, and then she's still around, and she's like, "Why am I still here?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you have to go and like clip your heels together, and that's actually the thing that brings you back." Then why do you want to do the orgy thing? Because I wanted to sleep with you.
I'm going to repeat what she said while clicking her heels, because I'd actually like to keep this You know,
Let's just pretend
for,
she says there's no place at home like home, and not what she actually
let's
did say.
no, that feels she's sitting there saying what she's saying in the bed with everybody around her, and they're like, "Well, that seems absolutely normal."
Yeah, because they're all porn stars.
I
If
know.
anything, the older ones are probably retired porn stars, but they're all porn stars.
And
So,
Hillary Clinton.
you know,
Don't
like
forget.
I'm sorry, we keep talking at the same time. Go ahead.
I was saying, and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. I'm at the very end now where they're all around her and she's doing the whole, and you were there, and you were there. She doesn't really even say that. And then all of a sudden the pimp shows up out of nowhere and she's like, it's Pumpernickel. And I'm like, that's a great joke if there was a setup earlier in the thing, but there's no setup earlier. The audience, I guess it's kind of funny, but it would have been funnier if Mr. Pumpernickel got introduced in the first part of the movie. And we had like that as a callback, but
it would have been better. It would have been better if the pimp would have been there and said, "Close your legs." Yeah, that's something you should have done 9 minutes ago.
So that is our trip to the land of Oz. Better than the prison of Oz.
That's true. So the exciting thing is next weekend, next show, maybe I should say. Next show we're going back to music, which we haven't talked music in quite a while.
Yes.
So that's pretty exciting. We're going to talk about groups that we used to like that are now, their CDs are just worth coasters to us.
Yes.
Groups or music artists.
Yes, the best of the past.
Following that, we have a Watch Us Die, because on the 10th of December, the new Power Rangers Brawler comes out. We're going to go ahead and give that a test drive. And we may, depending on how that goes, take another specific game that we talked about in the past for a test drive as well, too. So it might be a double Watch Us Die. So Watch Us Die and a Watch Us Die Again, all in the same episode.
And for our next set of movie reviews, we're going to be taking a look at some Hallmark movies that are quite interesting, because these two movies were recorded at the same time. And not like back to back. I mean, at the same time. So
and they're intertwined as well, too, right?
I guess, yeah. There's like shared scenes just taken from different perspectives or something. I hate the fact that it took Hallmark to come up with this idea, but it's like an idea I've always had of like, well, why don't they just make multiple movies at the same time, just from different perspectives? And here we are. They went ahead and did it.
And what's exciting is Ben is going to watch one of them. I'm going to watch the other one, and we're going to talk about them and see how they relate.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see something and how you see it differently when there's scenes in the shared scenes. From what I understand, like, most of the movies have shared scenes.
Yes.
Like, I think it's like 40% of the movie is like original, and 60% you'll see in the other movie.
And
So,
if you think about this, you're probably, when you know we do movie episodes, you probably realize we do two movies, but you're probably thinking, oh, that's two movies, but you're doing one each. Yes, that is true. So what we're also incorporating is a new series called Should I Bother? And what we're going to do is we're going to take a very old movie and just basically, should you watch it in 2024 for the holiday season? And you want me to say what the name of this one is?
sure, go ahead.
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh, you mentioned that one already. Yeah. No. Okay.
Can you do that one? Can you handle that, Ben? Because I don't know if I can. But
I've never watched an Ernest movie.
Okay, I watched it for way back in high school because my gym teacher wanted to do something for Christmas, and he was just wacky. So he was like, "Today we're going to watch Ernest Saves Christmas," and we were excited. I don't really remember much of it, so I'm looking forward to seeing, because I know it's going to be really, really bad. Like,
Maybe it will help Spice World in my eyes.
I was thinking that maybe this will take the crown for the worst thing we've ever done over the Not the Wizard of Oz.
The thing is, I thought Not the Wizard of Oz was still better than Spice World.
I don't know how you could think that, but
Because there's a story at least. It's a ripoff completely of the Wizard of Oz. It's Dorothy trying to get home, but at least there's a story. Oh, they're trying to make it to a concert. They're musicians. That's what they do.
So that's the Christmas episode, and then following that will be the week after Christmas, and we have what was it, the toys we always wanted but never got, was it?
Yeah, we're gonna do like yeah. You always think back as like, oh, I remember my buddy had a blah blah blah, and I always wanted one, but my cheap ass mother. You can get angry about it if you want, but I wouldn't. But yeah, just toys that you remember when you were growing up that you were envious of. It's gonna be a story of envy.
It's gonna be a story about you.
What?
You say it's gonna be a story about you?
No, envy.
Oh, and envy. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because we were talking about when we were envious over toys that other kids had that we didn't have.
I kind of wish that we could get Dr. G for that episode, but then again, Dr. G would be like, well, there's nothing listed for me because my mom just bought me everything.
Oh, isn't that special?
Yeah,
good for you. I didn't have such luxuries. My mom was like, if you want it, I will. Like, the best I ever got is I will pay for half of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to come up with the other half. And
you're like, but Mom, I'm 6 years old. I can't hold down a job yet. And she's like, well, too bad. You can get half of it.
Hey, you learn how to ride a bicycle. I went ahead and I put one of these newspaper bags on your bike for you.
There you go. At 6 years old?
Yeah, and I'm out there. No, I didn't. I never delivered. I helped a friend deliver newspapers, but I never personally had a newspaper route. I
did. I had, well, sort of. I had a newspaper route that only took place on Sundays and Tuesdays.
Oh, so in your town it's the Tuesday and Sunday. In my town it's Thursday and Sunday where they're together, and then the other one is a separate subscription.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the people that didn't have the subscription.
Well, there's two different subscriptions for at least for my paper. You can either get the Thursday, Sunday. Oh no, it's three different ones. You could do Thursday, Sunday, Monday through Saturday, or both together.
Gotcha.
So Thursday's always included no matter what subscription you get, but Sunday you might not get Sundays.
See, ours was you either get the paper that's every day, or you don't get the paper that's every day, and we force you to get the papers on Sundays and Tuesdays that are just like the shopper's information.
Yeah, that's like here the Thursday and Sunday ones are filled with the most ads. Yeah. And I think they do Thursday because of Thanksgiving. Thursday, and then Black Friday ads are in the Thursday one, so they just decided to make Thursday the one that goes with Sunday.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so anything else to add before we call it a night?
Black Friday was a bust this year. Other than the same deals they always have on streaming services every single Black Friday, there was nothing really special. I was looking at TV prices. I was looking at different prices for all kinds of stuff, and everything was like the same price. Actually, some prices went up for Black Friday. Like certain prices I've been following went up on Black Friday. And I'm like, yeah, because Black Friday, everybody knows that Black Friday is bullshit.
Yep.
Wasn't always bullshit, but now it's bullshit. So.
Yep. Well, we're coming into Cyber Monday.
Yeah, Cyber Monday. Everybody like that. That's when you're and then there's Local Tuesday, right? Or is that Shop Local Saturday? One of them is a Shop Local Day. I missed that one too. I don't care. I buy stuff when I need to. I don't care if it's a holiday or not. Some stuff it's actually cheaper to buy at different times of year. I almost made a post about this. Anybody looking to buy a TV, the best time to buy TVs literally is the week after the Super Bowl. It's always been the week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because
I understand that one.
Yeah, because everybody buys one for the Super Bowl and then they bring it back.
Yeah.
And then you'll have TVs that literally were used for 6 hours sitting on a shelf.
Or they just weren't bought, and then now the store has too many of them and want to get rid of them.
Well, that's when they come out with the new models, and the new models come out on I believe in April. So yeah, that's another time to go TV shopping is in April when new models come out because they'll be getting rid of the old models, like cars. They don't want to have. There's a new model of television every single year. They're always updating stuff, changing stuff, and they want to get rid of the old ones. And just like cars, the longer it's been sitting on the shelf, the better deal you're going to get.
Yeah.
they want to get the stuff out of here. So let's click our heels together and let's go back